Hello, everybody. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to read my comments. They're printed out. Hello, everybody. This is from Mike, Tim's younger, older brother. I'm 2 years and 2 months older than Tim. We were the fourth and fifth of the kids in our family. We were raised together, almost as twins. And we did everything together. He was always as big as I was until he finally leaped past me and became much bigger than I was and am. Here are a few memories from early until recently. I do remember when he ran away from home when he was around 5. He had threatened to do this often, so no one took him seriously when he finally did. He didn't come back, so we finally tracked him down in the warehouse district of Oak Ridge. And was he glad to see that car. I also remember our bicycles. He learned to ride first, of course. I had to suffer him teaching me how to ride that too-big-for-me red bike. We rode those bikes everywhere. Then for Christmas a couple of years later, we got the hot bikes. Banana seats, black with shocks. We were badass. We started riding everywhere, and then started to get out of hand. Our greatest legal adventure was when we rode all the way down the mountain at our family's mountain house in East Tennessee. Then the road was gravel and dirt, but that didn't stop us. We were badass. We were bikers. We managed to hassle cars driving down the mountain and scare them even, since we wanted to go faster than they were going. I can still remember the wind in my face and the gravel popping up behind us as we dared each other to go even faster around the curves. Our most famous illegal adventure was when I dared Tim to bike to the marina on the lake in our hometown. Yeah, I was the one who dared him. The very good, prim, proper, and straight-laced Mike. We were supposed to stay on our block on our bikes and not bike 5 miles away, in traffic with no sidewalks. How we managed to survive this with no incidents is proof there is a God. And when, for whatever reason, was I bragging, I felt compelled to say we had done this, there was general widespread disbelief by the rest of the family. Tim and I grew up as rivals and only became friends at UT Knoxville. I was doing a master's in French and he was finishing his 5th-year architecture degree. Near the end of the year, he asked me if I'd be interested in looking at the senior projects of his class. Well, I said, sure. And I went to the big ballrooms in the student center to see the 3D renderings. They were quite cool, but one stood out. That evening I stopped by his apartment to talk to him about what I'd seen. And finally, as I described the one project that stood out from the many, many others, he began to beam and finally said, "That's mine." So many other stories from over the years. He drove me to Nashville to pick up my Fiat 128, my first car, and didn't laugh when I finally tried to drive it home, my first time with a stick shift on the interstate. And I lumbered down the entrance ramp and then stopped the car. He stopped in front of me, turned around and said what was wrong. I thought I'd put the gear shift in first again instead of third. No. So many stories. Let me conclude with one last one. Less than 2 years ago, my wife died after a long illness. She was quite fierce and told our children and me exactly what she wanted to have happen when she died. She wanted to be cremated, and she wanted her ashes strewn somewhere beautiful, either in a river, the ocean, or at my family's mountain house. Well, I soon found out that I couldn't put her ashes on public property, and I didn't own and still don't own any property myself. The only choice was the mountain house. After much discussion, my children and I went there for a memorial service in July. Tim met us and was the rock I didn't even know I needed. He opened up the house and made it comfortable for us. He set up his tent on the grounds so that my children and I would have the house to ourselves. He told us that we knew where he was for when we needed him, and then left us alone. He made a great breakfast for us the next morning. He made us all laugh then. But most importantly, he found the perfect site for my wife's ashes. It was on the edge of the property, off an overgrown trail and down the cliff on a long forgotten trail down the mountain he and I had explored as kids. Under the jutting cliff was a small level spot with a single tree and grass around it. Below it, the mountain fell precipitously towards the valley, 1,000 feet below. My children and I did the memorial service in that beautiful place. And then we watched the most amazing sunset of my life from the house's balcony. As we listened to music I had selected that my wife loved. Tim made all this possible. Tim was my rock. Tim was my brother. I love him and will miss him forever. Thank you all.